Now the first tip is, once they start to flower, move them somewhere shadier. And then the blooms will last a lot longer than if you leave them in the bright sun. My next tip is to look at the colours of the tulips and position them against a backdrop that really makes the most of their colour. So these lovely orange ones, this is Brown Sugar, and below that is a lovely one called Campbell. They look great against the zingy lime green of this Tulima. Whereas this combination, which is a lovely collection of this lovely ruffled tulip called Wyndham, and this lovely blue-grey one called Blue Heaven, they're looking much better up against the rosemaries and the giant geranium, particularly as the purples in them are picking out the lovely eye of this Geranium Madurense alba. Whereas this collection, a rather nice moody collection from Sarah Raven called Madame de Pompadour, that's looking really good against the auriculas I've got in flower at the minute, because it's picking up the colours, and against the backdrop of the first geranium pheums here, that lovely dark purple, and even now the akebia on the back wall that's coming out will again pick up some of the purples here on the Black Hero and the Slawa, and this rather lovely petaled one called Copper Image, and I think that'll look good for several weeks. Elaine gets this too in her own garden.
I'm thrilled with these tulips. I got them in a real cheapo pack in a real cheapo shop, 10 in a pack, and they're the most beautiful red, and I think they look incredible with the pyrrhus behind it and next to the leaves of this Persicaria purple fantasy.
My next tip is to water your pots. Now, although it's been a very wet spring, there's so much leaf and foliage that the water can't really get to the soil, and it carries a lot of foliage here now, and they can wilt, and it causes the flowers to be over more quickly. So with a nice long spout, don't get the flowers and the leaves watered, but just go in at the root there and give it a good old soak at least once a week, I would say. And my final tip is that if you want to keep your tulip bulbs for a second year and try and get them to flower again, they won't all do this. You have more luck generally with these single ones than the very, very clustered ones. But as you water them, give them a feed as well. So let's try and get as much goodness into these. And then when they finish their flowering, deadhead them and pop them back in that very hot sunny space again to bake over the summer.